Mute. Mic check, mic check. Let me put this, the mic over here. All right, y'all. First and foremost, give all praise to Yhwh, about Shimmy, Al Shah, Thumb. It's the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the Son of Mashak Yahweh, who we know as Jesus Christ. We're gonna pick up where we left off. Let me see. We left off at 14, and we also gonna look at some stuff with some of the acts of at the stream, brother Eleazar Shalom. We also gonna pick up on Shalom.
Shalom.
We also gonna pick up on some of the acts of Elisha. And so we'll finish off with that if we got time. Just going through some of his acts, going through some of the things that he was dealing with during the time of the Northern Kingdom, right before and after they got picked up. But a lot of stuff we'll be reading is before Northern Kingdom was snatched out of Israel as a whole. But just picking up where we left off, man, we're gonna start off with the fear. You know, do we lack the fear, or do we really fear the Most High, man? Do we really fear his judgments? Do we really believe that we're gonna be condemned? And is this fear that we do have, or we say we have, is it enough for us to have obedience? Is it enough to give us obedience? I think we finished this up though. And there Saul was the man. Yeah, I think we finished this. Amen. And we may put him to death, as Saul said. There shall not a man be put to death on this day, for the day of the Lord is wrath for salvation. Yeah, I think we read this part. All right. Secret sin. We'll start with Psalms 32 and read 1 through 4. We did have to just go ahead and pick this thing up. We ended up getting, I don't know, man, like 200 views on this video on the first one. So definitely just need to finish off. It's only a few more slides here. And then again, we can read through a couple chapters of 2 Kings.
Psalms chapter 30. You said Psalms 32?
32, 1 through 4.
I've
seen another verse.
Psalms chapter 32 and verse 1. Blessed is he whose transgression is forgiven, whose sin is covered. Blessed is the man. I've got an echo. My YouTube is muted.
You might have your YouTube on.
It's muted though. Does it matter?
I don't hear no echo on this end.
Oh, temple. Shalakia. Blessed is the man unto whom the Lord imputeth not iniquity, and in whose spirit there is no God. When I kept silent, my bones waxed old through my roaring all the day long. For day and night thy hand was heavy upon me. My moisture is turned into the drought of summer. Selah.
All right, and so we see here that just dealing with, again, secret sins, man. It says, when I kept silent, my bones waxed old through my roaring. And some things that we hold in, some things that we fighting, you know, we not able to get over. Sometimes we not able to get over those things, and sometimes those things just eat at us. That's a situation right now with this influencer called Brother Polite, and they about to give a judgment on him, or he about to plead or something like that. But he was one of the ones that sat in front of GMS, and he boxed them into a corner. He boxed them elders into a corner, and the elders had a certain methodology, and they died on the sword with the methodology, dealing with that whole rape doctrine. and they went all the way down with it and fell on the sword, and so he's the one that pretty much, made that video go viral with, brothers saying that they would do certain things to, if it came to the fact of somebody doing something to their daughter or something like that, but come to find out, I don't know how many years ago it was, maybe about 7 years, 7 years ago. Now this brother's up on a case doing something to somebody's underage daughter, and may have to plea out. And even when he's doing that and made that spectacle, he's dealing with that same sin. He's dealing with that same iniquity. Really, really dealing with it. Brothers just trying to follow some a misunderstanding. But you don't see them even doing it. Matter of fact, GMS really don't. Last I heard, they don't even let women even get in their camps. But we'll see these things. Him dealing with that in secret, and then it eating at him, and now you can mess around and do time, and you know how these folks do. Them folks who done mess with little children in those prisons. But it says bones waxed old through my ruin all the day long, for day and night thy hand was heavy upon me. And also, man, the psalmist praying, man. You know what I'm saying? And understanding that, the blessing of being forgiven, the blessing of having your sins covered. All right, the blessing in being an individual who's there's found no guile. James 5:16. And we take that for granted sometimes, man. We take it for granted, just like what we did, how wicked we really are. We lose sight of that. We lose sight of it sometimes. And you know why? Because we compare ourselves to other individuals. We compare ourselves to other camps. We compare ourselves to other Israelites. We compare ourselves to other brothers wearing fringes. And if you're not even in Israel, you compare yourself to, people of the world. And like, yeah, well, I ain't no homosexual. I'm just doing a lot better than that. I'm doing a lot better than them, or I ain't this. But that homosexual could have a better heart. Homosexual could have a better loving spirit. Homosexual probably don't hate his brother. So just gotta grade yourself on those who walk this thing. Ultimately, Christ. You know what I'm saying? But James 5:16.
This is James chapter 5, verse 16. Confess your faults one to another, and pray one for another, that ye may be healed. The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much.
Yeah, the fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. All right, we know that. What's that? John. He don't hear the prayer. I think it's John 9:28, something like that. He don't hear the prayers. We know he don't hear the prayers of sinners. Nope, that ain't it. What is that precept? It might be Proverbs 9:28. Hold on 1 second. I got it right here. 9:31. A few verses down, but we know John quoted that, man. But the righteous man, the prayers of a righteous man availeth much. All right, so we should be praying one for another that we may be healed, praying one for another that we get out of certain situations and tribulations and certain persecutions that we're going through. And can't have nobody pray for you. You can't confess your faults or certain sins that you battling, man. Certain sins that you trying to overcome or you fell back into. And because this thing, it's like the gym, man. Like once you take that break, man, or anything, man, it's even diets, man. You eat that one little slice of strawberry cake, man, and you gonna lapse. You gonna lapse. Like, well, them couple cookies ain't gonna, it ain't gonna hurt, man. And then before you know it, man, you back out here, man. You back out here buying candy bars on your break, hitting the vending machines. So you got to stay consistent. Hardened hearts, Hebrews chapter 3 and verse 13. We gotta stay consistent. It don't matter what you're doing. You gotta stay consistent, man. And if and that's a lesson in itself. That's a lesson. Consistency. All right. And what it takes to be consistent in the surroundings of consistency and being around individuals that are consistent. Consistency in the spirit. That's a lesson for somebody. Might be a lesson for me later. Hebrews 13:16 through 16.
This is Hebrews chapter 13, verse 13.
Hebrews
3.
3 and 13. Come on. Shalom, brother Michael.
Shalom, family.
Hebrews 3 and 13.
Come on.
But exhort one another daily, while it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. For we are made partakers of Christ, if we hold the beginning of our confidence steadfast unto the end. While it is said, today, if ye will hear his voice, harden not your hearts as in the provocation. For some, when they had heard, did provoke, howbeit not all that came out of Egypt by Moses. So, that's it?
Yeah, that's it. I was looking up that exhort. I've seen another translation. It says warn. All right, warn each other daily while it's still, or warn each other daily while it's still called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of wickedness or deceitfulness of sins. And so we got to give warning, man. And this a commandment. Like, I know we be reading stuff. Sometimes we just be reading it and we don't really like. He's telling you to do these things. We got to be warning each other so that we don't get hardened. We don't get hardened through sin. All right. And then we see here, watch this, for we are made partakers of Christ if we are made partakers of Christ if we hold the beginning of our confidence steadfast unto the end. You got to endure. If we endure. Good evening, Brother Dixon. Shalom. Are your desires from a righteous place? And I was just saying this, where I was reading something earlier. If we get a chance, we can read it. I was reading it today, but if we get a chance, we can read it. Man, we think some of this stuff won't, we be thinking, some of this stuff won't take us out, man, but it will, man. It's a good chance that it will. And it has taken out people who have, people that I see in the text that has done more, have seen more, have witnessed more. And the riches of this world deceived them. I done seen them who done walk with prophets, done watch people get raised from the dead, done watch people, babies getting healed, raised from the dead, and rivers being healed, and food being seeing all these miracles, and still riches still take you out, man. Riches still, the desires of your heart still take you out. And a lot of times, man, we think we can handle it, but it is, man. That's that money will change you, man. That ain't, man. Folks ain't saying that for no reason. That money it may do something to you, man. And I know we saying, hey, man, I ain't be straight, man. You give me 10 million, I'm gonna still serve the Lord. It's how good it do. But when you got time and you got that money to do wickedness, man, you don't know, man. You don't know you just don't know, man. Like I say, I done seen. I want to say it. I want to say, yeah, man. But if you have a certain fear, definitely, and if you have a certain fear, you gonna be mindful of, well, maybe, I gotta be careful when I get this bread like that, man. When I mess around and hit the lottery for 10 million, or I mess around and somebody bless you. You know what I'm saying? Most I might bless you with, somebody just handing you over some money, or you just make a good deal, whatever the case may be, whatever the increase is. But you don't lose that fear, because money can give you a security, and you'll lose. See, when you're broke and you're down and out, your only security is the Most High in Christ. That's your only security. That's the last thing you follow. That's what you land on now. But when you got money, money can be a good security for you, and you thinking, well, we can, we ain't really got to call on the Lord yet. We got to really call on the Lord till the money gone. We can fix the problems with the money. We ain't got to call on the Lord until the money is gone. How Boosie came up out of there, man. I was on my knees praying. Well, I had cherries on my knees. I was praying to him because he didn't know. He sold his car to get out of jail. To sell his car to get out of jail and get the lawyers paid. But even with them feds, man, them feds don't care nothing about no money. Psalms 34:9.
God. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 34, verse 9. Oh, fear the Lord, yea, his saints, but there is no want to them that fear him. The young lions do lack and suffer young, but they that
Suffer
seek the
hunger.
Lord,
Go ahead.
shall not want any good thing.
You should not want any good thing. So you see that fear being there with no wants to them that fear him. All right. I don't have no want to them that fear him. Or no, they're not out here, they're not lacking. All right, but the young lions do lack and suffer hunger, but they that seek the Lord shall not want any good thing. All right, all good things will be given to those that fear him. Proverbs 10:24. And we see later in the text too, man, with the young rich ruler, again, man, you just don't, it's a warning. Take it how you want to take it, but it is a warning. Proverbs 10:24.
Proverbs 10:24. The fear of the wicked, it shall come upon him, but the desire of the righteous shall be granted.
Yeah, but the desire of the righteous shall be granted. But the fear, jokers be knowing. Jokers be knowing when they about to go to jail. They be scared. They be nervous. They know when jokers is after them. Their worst fears, their worst nightmare end up happening because they stay in that wickedness. They stay in that wickedness, man. You out here cheating and sleeping around, and then you worried about your rib sleeping around, or you worried about somebody else sleeping with your rib, and then you got the bubble guts when you come home, and you that worst fear they end up coming to pass. Proverbs 11:23.
God, this is Proverbs chapter 11, verse 23. The desire of the righteous is only good, but the expectation of the wicked is wrath.
The expectation is wrath. What about these brothers doing this drill music? These rappers, man, they know what's going on. They know what's gonna happen. They know their time gonna come. They know it's only a matter of time, man. They worst fear end up coming. And jokers don't even be surprised. You got what that Kodak Black? They need to put him in the Milton Institute. This joker done went stone crazy. Like literally done went stone crazy. Like he talking to shadows. Millions of dollars. Now he's sitting around talking to shadows.
Hey, Shalakia.
Go ahead.
Hey, Shalom, family. And I remember being in the streets, right? Before I came to Atlanta. The Most High give you that warning before destruction. There's a certain elements that the Most High, well, He gave it to me. I know I had to leave. I know it was time to go, stop doing the nonsense, get out the streets, and get my life right. And so I hearkened to the Most High. I left like in I think it was like March of 1993, and in September of 1993, one of my best friends got killed. One of my running buddies got killed. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it be, the Most High give you that warning, man. If you lucky, but He do give you that fear. I felt it. I knew something was going down. And I hearkened, man. So all praise, brother.
Come man. So we be know you be knowing when you in your wickedness, you be knowing it's only a certain amount of it's only a matter of time. You know what that boy Pac said, death around the corner. He knew. Pentecost. How many slides I got here? Okay. Acts 9 and 31.
Is it on me?
Go ahead.
Acts 9 and 31. Then had the churches rest throughout all Judea and Galilee and Samaria, and were edified, and walked in the fear of the Lord, and in the comfort of the Holy Ghost were multiplied.
So I'm walking in the fear of the Lord and in the comfort of the Holy Spirit. A lot of us don't have that comfort of that Holy Spirit because we lacking that fear. We lacking the fear of the Lord. Philippians 2 and 12.
It's Philippians chapter 2, verse 12. Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling.
Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling, man. And not just in my presence. You know, like they about to start implementing like this. I went to DeVry University for a few years, and back then, it's just a for-profit school, man. But I was listening to somebody was telling me, man, DeVry has they done went where they just pulling the darn teachers, the professors into the lobby. They just putting the TV and they pushing a little. You remember how it used to be the movie day in the classrooms? They pushing a little screen in there, for the teacher to come in. Even when my dad was in rehab, the doctor, they pushed the screen into the darn room, and the doctor talked to him through the darn through the monitor. And the doctor wasn't there physically, and they pushed him to room on that screen. And now you have a lot of colleges doing that, where they have 400 students looking at them probably on a StreamYard kind of like platform, and the teacher coming in there, they ain't got to be in their room. And but I'm saying all that to say, is the fear the same? Are you taking it as serious when you just got a monitor there? Or are you just, acting like you in the room and then you sleep and so forth? You don't really have to be there. And people get caught lacking. You've seen all those videos when everybody's working from home and pretending, but you get a little more laxed. You get a little more lax when you at the house and you're not directly inside of that classroom. It's a lack of fear. You get more comfortable, and it can hurt you in the long run. You know what I'm saying? It can hinder your learning. But we see here, what I'm saying, they still have a fear, working out their salvation in fear and trembling, but not just when Paul's there, but also they're still growing, they're still walking this thing even in his absence. Mercy, Luke 1:50. And mercy come with that fear also.
It's the book of Luke, chapter 1, verse 50. And his mercy is on them that fear him from generation to generation.
His mercy is on them that fear him. We got somebody else came in. Oh, brother Dion resurfacing.
My phone is shellacking. My phone got crazy.
Oh, hold on. Let me remove this one.
Oh, wow.
Okay, yeah, you good. But yeah, his mercy is on them that fear him. All right, on them that fear him, because they're gonna be obedient. Proverbs 14:26, and they slip, they fall, but you serve a merciful God. Proverbs 14:26 and 27.
Proverbs 14:26. And the fear of the Lord is strong confidence, and his children have a place of refuge. The fear of the Lord is a fountain of life, to depart from the snares of death.
A strong confidence. All right, it's a strong confidence. The fear of the Lord. And the children shall have a place of refuge. So it's a safe haven. All right, the fear of the Lord is a fountain of life, because it's going to keep you in line until you can get to those living waters, so you can get to that tree of life. All right, that fear of the Lord is essential. It's a basic principle. It's one of the keys to the kingdom. You have to have that first, even if your understanding ain't correct. If you have a fear, you got to have a fear first. You know what I'm saying? And then you can navigate. You can navigate the text to get a proper understanding. Luke chapter 12 and verse 5. This is the last slide here, and then we'll go on to 2 Kings.
Fine. It's the book of Luke, chapter 12, verse 5. But I will forewarn you whom ye shall fear. Fear him, which after he have killed, have power to cast into hell. Ye, I say unto you, fear him.
And you know, I've been seeing a lot of late lessons lately on hell, and maybe we need to revisit that. I know it's the grave. I know it has multiple meanings, but it does need to be revisited, because I don't think, brothers is telling people that it ain't. That what we see in that picture, like me thinking that it's a place like that souls are gonna be burning like that, is improper. You got a lot of people thinking that, and for that, it can cause a lack of fear. But they'll tell you it is a death after death. They'll tell you that it's a death by pain. You see in I think it's second Esdras, but they don't. They're not. They're not really teaching. They're not really letting these folks know, man, that it's over with, man. It's over with, and you're gonna get. You'll be burning, man. You're gonna be burning. They ain't no, it just, I'm just gonna lay down and ain't gonna exist no more. You'll be tormented, man. It's a place like that. But again, you have to revisit it and bring those things out to secure that point. I'm gonna share my screen here. But that's it pretty much on the fear of the Lord. Shalom, Sister Alicia. Present, share screen, video file. Yeah, share screen. And I said we'll look at some of the acts of Elisha and some of the things that our brothers, some of the things that we were dealing with Format 2. Y'all see my screen?
Done.
I wonder
Is
can I
this
go
along
to.
the same lines of the title, or
Yeah. We ended that. We ended that. That fear of the Lord. That was the last slide on that. That was the last slide. You could label this, man, Acts of Elisha. Acts of Elisha. Okay, we at 2 Kings, so we just slide over. Hold on. 2 Kings. Yeah. We'll look at this, man. I was revisiting this earlier. 2 Kings chapter 5, we see at Naaman being healed. If you don't know who Naaman is, it'll be a little treat for you. Let's start at verse 1. Start at verse 1. We're gonna read the whole chapter, to be honest. Where we at? 8 o'clock? Yeah, we'll read this whole chapter.
was it Second King?
2 Kings chapter 5. Okay.
If you want to start, I read half of it.
Okay, I crank it up.
God, I got you.
Okay, 10-4. Throw it out.
It's the book of 2 Kings, chapter 5, verse 1. Now Naaman, captain of the host of the king of Syria, was a great man with his master, and honorable, because by him the Lord had given deliverance unto Syria.
All right, so through Naaman, a captain in the army or the military of Syria, of the king of Syria, the Lord had given deliverance unto Syria through Naaman. And a lot of times when we see certain judgments on other nations, we automatically think a lot of times that Israel is going to do that judgment. That we have to see Israel do the judgment on those other nations, and the Most High will use another nation, just like He used just like the writings on the wall. If y'all remember that in Daniel, prophesying the destruction of Babylon, but it didn't come through Israel. It came through the Persians coming in, being outside and surrounding the gate. It came through the destruction of Babylon. Came through the Persians. He used the Persians to do that. So He'll use other nations to give judgments on other nations. It ain't always got to be Israel, but sometimes that's where our mind goes. So I need to see Israel destroying them. But the Most High is destroying. He gonna destroy them. And sometimes He'll use Israel. Sometimes He does use Israel. But sometimes we see here He using another nation. Go ahead.
He was also a mighty man in valor, but he was a leper. And the Syrians had gone out by companies and had brought away captive out of the land of Israel a little maid, and she waited on Naaman's wife.
And this is right before. Still before the Assyrians totally went in there, but they went in there once or twice, and then eventually they went in there and snatched majority of them. Really conquered the northern kingdom. But they went in, they kind of snuck in. Now they done got this is before that, and now they got this young slave girl that's waiting on Naaman the leper's wife. All right, she's a slave. She's a handmaid to Naaman's wife. And again, that's what I'm saying. Like that slavery, it's just always been a thing, man. You just go in there, snatch you one up, boom, give it to you. Well, here you go. That's for you. You come home and say, that's for you, man. And it's through all nations dealt with that. Nobody spoke against slavery. Where we at? Verse 3.
God. And she said unto her mistress, would God my Lord were with the prophets the prophet that is in Samaria, for he would recover him of his leprosy.
And that's another thing I was wondering also is when, the writer is calling the northern, the Israel, Samaria here, but, during this time before they were actually taken into captivity, was it named Samaria? Was it Samaria? When did it become Samaria? And that's just a question. I don't really have an answer for it yet. I dig into it. Or this is written at a later time, and the writer, at that time, the writer is saying that this is Samaria, or calling it Samaria, because that's what we're familiar with at that particular period. But it also made me go back and how many times are we, how much in the text do we see in the land of Reuben, in the land of Gad? We see that early in the text, but it kind of fades out a little bit. Go ahead, Shalaki.
Verse 4. And one went in and told his Lord, saying, Thus and thus said the maid that is of the land of Israel. And the king of Syria said, Go, and I will send a letter unto the king of Israel. And he departed, and took with him 10 talents of silver, and 6,000 pieces of gold, and 10 changes of raiment. And he brought the letter to the king of Israel, saying, Now when this letter is coming to thee, behold, I have therewith sent Naaman, my servant, to thee, that thou mayest recover him of his leprosy.
And it's another thing too, is that they just went in there and took captive some people out of the land. Now, the land of Israel, and now you sending, you asking for help. You want one of the prophets, and that's another thing too. The slave girl is the handmaiden of Israel, is recommending. She said, I wish you would go down to Samaria where there's a prophet, and he could heal you. And so he goes and run that to the king, and the king says, okay, well, I'll write a letter to the king of Israel, and throw some change down there with it, and we try to get you healed, because he was a mighty man of valor. But just what I'm saying, it's kind of funny that you just seen them come and attack you, and you still cool with this. But go ahead.
Verse 7. And when it came to pass, when the king of Israel had read the letter, that he rent his clothes and said, Am I God to kill and to make alive, that this man doeth send unto me to recover a man of his leprosy? Wherefore consider, I pray you, and see how he seeketh a quarrel against me.
And so he's seeking, he can't. The king says, I can't heal no leper, so he think it's beef anyway. So we kind of get our answer there in the next verse. He rent his clothes. He think it's pointless, and he thinks that he just wants to start war, and that's why he requested this, knowing that I couldn't do it. Go ahead.
And it was so, when Elisha, the man of God, had heard that the king of Israel had rent his clothes, that he sent to the king, saying, Wherefore hast thou rent thy clothes? Let him come now to me, and he shall know that there is a prophet in Israel. So Naaman came with his horses and with his chariot, and stood at the door of the house of Elisha. And Elisha sent a messenger unto him, saying, Go and wash in the Jordan 7 times, and thy flesh shall come again to thee, and thou shalt be clean. But Naaman was wroth and went away, and said, Behold, I thought he would surely come out to me, and stand, and call on the name of the Lord his God, and strike his hand over the place, and recover the leper.
And you see Naaman sees and call on the name of the Lord his God. Like it's a separation there. Naaman like, hey man, I seen the way y'all was doing it. I know how we do it for our God. We just do this little whipping whop whop bop. You stand over him, call the name of the God, and he come down and he heal me. You want me to go jump into this darn dirty river I ain't with that. I ain't really with jumping into that river like that. Yeah, that don't sound right. It don't, I thought you could just whip, wham, bam, and then I get healed. Go ahead.
Are not Abana and Pharpar, rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel?
Mm,
May I not wash in them and be clean? So he turned and went away in a rage.
mm.
And his servants came near and spake unto him and said, My father, if the prophet had bid thee to do some great thing, wouldst thou not have done it? How much rather then when he said to thee, Wash and be clean?
So the servants had to speak, had to speak some sense into him, man. He giving you a simple request. He giving you a simple request, man. Just go dip in the water and be clean. Just go wash and be clean. Um, and there's other things. If he would have told you, you would have went on ahead and did it.
Hmm.
But why you complaining about, how clean the water is? Talking about it's better rivers in Damascus and so forth. But again, too, having their nose stuck up, being, from another nation, looking down on people, looking down on Israel. Go
That
ahead.
pride.
Pride, huh?
Verse 14. Then went he down and dipped himself 7 times in the Jordan, according to the saying of the man of God. And his flesh came again like unto the flesh of a little child, and he was clean.
Yeah. And then his flesh came to like the flesh of a little child. And that kind of gives you imagery of that, man. Like that leprosy, it just wasn't no, oh, your skin white, man. It's sores and all kind of scabs and boils all on you. And it's hard to look at. Why the little slave girl's like, man, I can't keep seeing you like that, man. You just, it's somebody that can heal you. I wish you just gone down there and get yourself taken care of. But it's something hard to be around, man. It ain't, it ain't just white skin.
Want me to finish it up?
No, I finished it out.
Uh,
Verse 15. And he returned to the man of God, he and all his company, and came and stood before him. And he said, Behold, now I know that there is no God in all the earth, but in Israel. Now
Mm.
therefore I pray thee, take a blessing of thy servant. But he said, As the Lord liveth, before whom I stand, I will receive none. And he urged him to take it, but he refused. And Naaman said, Shall there not then, I pray thee, be given to thy servant 2 mules, burden of earth? For thy servant will henceforth offer neither burnt offering nor sacrifice unto other gods, but unto the Lord. And this thing the Lord upon thy servant, that when my master goeth into the house of Rimmon to worship there, and he leaneth on my hand, and I bow myself in the house of Rimmon. When I bow down myself in the house of Rimmon, the Lord upon thy servant in this thing.
Now you know why he asking this. This is Naaman asking. Naaman comes to the realization that hey, there is no other God on this earth except the one in Israel.
Mm.
All right, and he comes to this realization, and he's saying, well, my master, the king. I think it's King Aram of Syria. He's gonna make me. We gonna be going into the house of this other deity. And when we go into there, I gotta go into there because I'm the captain of I'm the captain of the host. I'm his guy. He paid for this whole thing to happen, so forth, blah blah blah. But when I go in there, man of God, I need this thing to be pardoned. And he's saying this because he has a fear. He doesn't want to be disobedient to this God. He don't want to get into the wrath of this God. He don't want to displease this God that just healed him from leprosy.
Mm.
And so he's asking for a pardon for something he know he had to already do. He don't want to sin against his God. He's asking the man that God, can I be pardoned for this thing? Where we at, verse 19?
God. And he said unto him, Go in peace. So he departed from him a little way. But Gehazi, the servant of Elisha, the man of God, said, Behold, my servant have spared Naaman, the Syrian, and not receiving at his hand that which he brought. But as the Lord liveth, I will run after him and take somewhat of him.
Yeah, so Gehazi, if you read these chapters here with when Elijah, he's the servant of Elijah. He's supposed to be the Elisha to Elijah. All right, he's in the ranking pretty much of Elisha. Elijah fetch him to do all kinds of things in the text, but he see that Elisha did not take any other money or anything that Naaman and the Syrians tried to give him. He didn't take any of their gifts or anything. But Gehazi, who's been with Elisha the whole, well, I ain't gonna say the whole time, but he's been under Elisha, in with the sons of the prophets, and he's been dealing with Elisha a minute, seeing all his miracles. This is what I was talking about earlier. He's been dealing with him and seeing these miracles. But just like when the disciples were with Christ and Christ fed that 5,000, they get on the boat and they worried about food. And they worried about, well, man, I should have grabbed a few more of them fish, man. I hate we left them crumbs there, man. We should have went on, gathered the rest of that and put it on the boat, man, so we had something to eat. Not understanding that you with someone who just fed 5,000, just forgot that quick. And Gehazi, even though probably the same thing, and the disciples the same thing, they never lacked anything good. They never didn't go without when I was walking with Christ. And we see the same thing here, almost like a foreshadow or a type, but he's gonna run after Naaman and try to get some of that reward, some of that money that was supposed to went to that was supposed to go to Elisha. Go ahead.
Verse 21. So Gehazi followed after Naaman, and when Naaman saw him running after him, he leaned down from the chariot to meet him and said, Is all well? And he said, All is well. My master have sent me, saying, Behold, even now there be come to me from Mount Ephraim 2 young men of the sons of the prophets. Give them, I pray thee, a talent of silver and 2 changes of garment.
And so look what the greed made them do. The greed made them lie. See, that's what a lot of times, man, you sometimes get into these sins and get into these situations. It's a multitude of sins that come with it. It ain't just one sin. It ain't just, it ain't just fornication. It ain't just, oh, you broke. It ain't just fringes. It ain't like, it end up being some other things too, man. You end up having to lie, end up having to be deceitful. And then you telling this to, a believer, somebody that just got a child. One of those little ones. You just told that to him, and and knowing that he'll give you anything. He'll give you all of it if you ask. You told him. But he said, man, I got 2 young folks that came down. I got 2 new converts, that's coming down from Ephraim. They in the sons of the prophets. They some new recruits, and they need some clothes and a little money, man, to get situated. Somebody about to say something? Are you about to say something? No, go ahead. Where we at, 23?
God. And Naaman said, Be content, take 2 talents. And he urged him and bound 2 talents of silver in 2 bags with 2 changes of garment and laid them upon 2 of his servants, and they bare them before him. And when he came to the tower, he took them from their hand and bestowed them in the house. And he let the men go, and they departed.
Mm.
But he went in and stood before his master. And Elisha said unto him, Whence comest thou, Gehazi? And he said, Thy servant went no whither.
That's another lie.
God.
And sometimes, but you get caught right in the middle of that mess. You get lined up right in the middle. How in the world, dog? I thought you was way over there, man. I thought you done went down and you was down there dealing with the king, trying to tell him what happened, man. You come back with these goods that Elisha, said take them with Naaman, and you come back with the stolen goods, man, and had to sit up there and answer questions and answer questions from your master that your master already know. You know, you gotta ask them kids them questions. You already know. You just gonna trying to see if they gonna lie, man. And they do. They gonna lie.
Hey, Salaki, that when you start digging that hole for yourself.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Let me see how long this joker gonna go. And yep, they are gonna lie again directly in your face. I don't care how young they are. If they can talk, they can lie.
Yeah, man.
I don't know what point they learn that, but man, but Shalaki, go ahead.
Verse 26. And he said unto him, went not my heart with thee? When the man turned again from his chariot to meet thee, is it a time to receive money and to receive garments and olive yards and vineyards and sheep and oxen and men servants and maid servants? The leprosy therefore Naaman shall cleave unto thee and unto thy seed forever. And he went out from his presence a leper as white as snow.
As white as snow. And he says, not only is it going to be on you, but it's going to be on your seed forever. That leprosy that we just took off of Naaman, this Syrian, that leprosy going to be on you and your seed forever. And he told him, man, went not my heart with thee when I with you, man. When I was like, come on now. You don't know that I know? You think you can trick me? We'll read one more that I found very interesting today. Also, I think it's here. And the axe fell. Yes, this one I'm talking about was with food, and he put his hand and took it. Hold on, it's one of dealing with some poison. No, it gotta be in here then. Yeah, we'll start at verse 1. I do want to read that. Verse 1, we're gonna read 1 through 6. 1 through 7. 2 Kings chapter 6, 1 through 7.
Oh. This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 6, verse 1. And the sons of the prophet said unto Elisha, behold now, the place where we dwell with thee is too strait for us. Let us go, we pray thee, unto Jordan, and take thence every man of you, and let us make us a place there, where we may dwell. And he answered, go ye. And one said, be content, I pray thee, and go with thy servants. And he answered, I will go. So he went with them. And when they came to Jordan, they cut down wood. But as one was felling a beam, the axe head fell into the water. And he cried and said, alas, master, for it was borrowed. And the man of God said, where fell it? And he showed him the place. And he cut down a stick and cast it in thither, and the iron did swim. Therefore said he, take it up to thee, and he put out his hand and took it.
All right, so this is just another one of those miracles Elisha did. They long story short, they were cutting down wood. The axe handle fell into the water. They pointed where the water was at. Elisha took a stick, cast it into that spot, and the iron folded back up to the top. We know iron don't float. You know, especially with the stuff that went on. That went on just recently with those people dying in that darn titanium. They died in that that little sub.
Gosh.
And so that was miraculous. I mean, pretty much if something like that happened and Elijah threw the stick in and that little submarine floated up and saved them life, that would have been spreaded throughout the earth. But people would probably still wouldn't believe. And I know that's hard to believe, but people probably still wouldn't believe. The 2 Kings chapter 4 and verse 38, and we'll end with this story here. Matter of fact, we'll just read it on down.
God, this is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 4, verse 1. Now there cried a certain woman of the wives of the sons.
No. 2 Kings 4 and 38. Start at 38 and we're going to read it down from 38 to 44. And then we'll close out.
2 Kings chapter 4, verse 38. And Elisha came again to Gilgal, and there was a dearth in the land, and the sons of the prophet were sitting before him. And he said unto his servant, sit on the great pot, and sieve potted for the sons of the prophet. And one went out into the field to gather herbs, and found a wild vine, and gathered thereof wild groves, his lap full, and came and shred them into the pot of pottage, and they knew them not. So they poured out for the men to eat, and it came to pass, as they were eating of the pottage, that they cried out and said, O thou man of God, there is death in this pot, in the pot.
Come on,
and they could not eat thereof.
Now listen, they joking. This joker done went out here, man. These little young prophets done went out here and grabbed some herbs, trying to season this pottage, trying to season this pot, this great pot. They tried to get some seasonings, and while they seasoning it, if you can imagine, joker out there on tabernacles and they made a good pot. And you start to see some of them pork sausages float up to the top.
No,
Joker be kicked the pot over. But it's funny though, they seen that the herb was, that one of those herbs was poisonous that is in the pot, and they called to Elisha, man. Hey man, it's death in this pot, man. You put on this pot for us to eat, man, and this stuff is poison. It's something to kill us. Go ahead.
Verse 41. But he said, then bring meal. And he cast it into the pot, and he said, pour out for the people, and they may eat. And there was no harm in the pot.
So he said, and you can't put no equation to that. Like, you don't know, I'm sure nobody asking Elijah, but what the meal do? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like what the meal do so I could do that? I just kind of figure this thing out. Can we eat this? Can we still use this poisonous herb and throw some meal in it when we at the house by ourselves when you ain't around? Like, what does... Go ahead.
I would have still had to pass on it.
They trusted him though. They trusted him, man. They had faith in him, and Joker just killed. He probably threw that meal in him and looked at him. Man, go on eat that stuff, man. Go on finish that up. Pour it out for the people, man. Threw that meal in there, pour it out, man. Pour everybody up, man. Let everybody get ready, man. And there was no harm in the pot, man. There was no harm in the pot. And like I was saying, man, it's hard to you may think you sitting with Elijah, you may do that, man, but it's hard to, you may want to just go without eating, man. Why risk it? how much confidence, how much faith do you have in Elisha? You know, even though he's done all these miracles and stuff, like how much faith do you really have? And it's hard, man. When we go back and read this stuff, it's maybe easy to say from the other side. And that's why I seen here. Why this why this little random thing in here? And go ahead,
I would say, Salakia, we got more faith in the bartender. Cause it's a certain drink that they make with dry ice. And they make the drink bubble and foam.
Right.
But if you mess around and you forget it's dry ice and you try to eat it and swallow it, it can kill you.
Yeah.
So that's a drink that they gotta perfect, man. So do you trust? Yeah.
Even that blowfish. I be seeing them agents over there eating that blowfish, knowing it's poisonous, and they eat it raw. And the chef has to know exactly how to cut this chef, but we have trust in that chef. But would we have trusted Elijah? And what's that boy name with had the death juice? Jim Jones. They trusted. Yeah. They trusted that Kool-Aid, man. They trusted that Kool-Aid. Go ahead.
I thought they knew. They was going to die.
I don't know. I don't know. You may be right.
Yeah, that's what they drinking on the same thing.
Oh, so they knew they were dying. They always like, man, we finna die with them. Wow.
Hey, Shalakia.
Go ahead.
Hey, I seen that documentary, man. You talking about that Jim Jones? Yeah, I seen a documentary, man. They went on that island. A lot of them tried to recant at the end, and he held them down by gunpoint. They got a documentary on it.
He killed a senator that came down there to check on them folk, man.
Yeah, some of them tried to back out. A lot of black folks went down there too, man. A lot of Israel.
The one and they drink, he shot him.
Yeah. They tried to refuse it, and he shot him. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you was over with then.
Yeah.
Wow. But most of them knew.
Most of them knew and went down to it. Yeah, I ain't know that. A lot of them just went out there and committed suicide. I thought they were finessed.
It was a simple, like, you gotta watch the documentary. From the documentary standpoint, it was like some kind of retreat, right? And so when they went down there, he kind of introduced this juice to him. And so when they found out what was going on, a lot of them was trying to leave. I mean, but you look, it's a documentary on it. It's a documentary on it, and it goes into the all the people. A lot of them didn't die by juice. A lot of them died by gunshots.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, you could. They did a documentary on it. You could look it up.
Okay, con. But this how these folks, a lot of influencers, a lot of these pastors that do these miracles, that's why they do them. Man, people, you may think it's silly. We may look at it and be like, oh man, this joker done sat here. I can see the joker breathing in the little coffin that you talking about you finna heal him from. I see him breathing.
Yeah.
But people still buy the stuff, man. People still believe it. Jokers be running on people's back. Y'all done seen all them crazy things, man. These Christians out here doing, man. And selling prayer cloths and all this stuff, man. And you thinking, well, man, nah, ain't no way that would have finessed that. How people believe that stuff, man. People are believing it. I remember that one video with that lady, her little arm was all shriveled up some kind of way, but it was really just broken and never healed. You just never put it in a cast. So she could tuck it all the way in, and then, and then he act like he healed her, and then she stretch it out and let it, and move around with it, but it's still broken. She just can do that because it is broken. And sometimes to fix things, you got to re-break it. That's a lesson. I'll give you this other short story. I had a brother that I worked with at Chili's, military brother, and he ended up falling off a house painting. He was painting, he fell off the ladder, hurt himself pretty bad. But you know us, we don't like to go to no physician. Thought he can just shake that thing off and put some dirt on it. Went about 6 weeks, maybe about a year or two later. He ended up leaving the job and going somewhere else because he couldn't carry the trays no more. So he could never carry the trays, and he ended up just finding another job. And then I seen him on Facebook. He was telling me, man, I ended up having to go back to the, I went back to the, because he was military, so he went to the VA and find out they had to re-break his arm had been broke the whole time, and he didn't know his arm was broke, and they had to re-break it to fix it. We read what we had 42.
Gone.
Gone.
And there came a man from Baal Shalisha and brought the man of God bread of the first fruit, 20 loaves of barley, and full ears of corn in the husk thereof. And he said, give unto the people that they may eat. And his servitor said, what? Should I set him before 100 men?
Should I set this before 100 men? Like, what you want me to do with this, man? You know what I'm saying? Like, man, come on, he gave us 20 loaves of bread and some corn. Like, what you want me? This ain't gonna feed 100 people. Go ahead.
He said again, give the people that they may eat. For thus said the Lord, they shall eat and shall leave thereof. So he said it before them, and they did eat and left thereof according to the word of the Lord.
And they're gonna be leftovers. Give it to them. They gonna eat. It's gonna be plenty. Like, and there'll be leftovers. And this is similar to what we was talking about earlier about the 5,000 fish. And this why people, Old Testament only try to make it in a defense for Elijah being the Messiah. Because Elisha did do a lot of miracles, but he's not the Messiah. But he did do a lot of miracles. He did split the I don't know if it was, I think he split the Jordan. But he did a lot of things that Moses did also, man. And like I said, if you read these next, maybe Elijah's 4 to about 10, chapter 4 to about chapter 10, it's just all dealing with the acts of Elisha and what he did and all these miracles and stuff he did. But again, we see that same thing, man. We see it like a lack of faith. They're not understanding who you're with, not understanding the anointing that's on that individual that you're with, and you questioning certain things that you shouldn't question. And that's why it's in the text. It's not just in the text. It's not. It's something for us to learn from. It's something from us to glean from. And I yield with that, man. Any brothers and sisters got anything else to do? Donnie Stevens definitely do that lesson on hell. Definitely need that. Go ahead, Op.
So I know we talked about this before, but so Elisha is Elijah.
No. Okay. Remember Elijah, was a prophet before, and he he got beamed up. He got called up, all right, into a chariot. They went looking for him and so forth. Elisha was a servant of Elijah. You remember he put his cloak on him and told him, come follow me. And then Elisha ended up killing all his oxen and all his farm tools. He pretty much bored his life away and gave it to the poor. He killed all his farm animals and cooked them, gave it to the poor, gave him his tools, and then he left to be a servant to Elisha. And then when Elijah ended up, his time was near and he was called to the Lord. the mantle came down. He asked Elisha asked Elijah for a double anointing of his spirit. And when that cloak came down, his cloak came down, and Elisha ended up getting the cloak, and he ended up coming back, splitting the Jordan. And he was like, man, everybody was like, man, yeah, that's a man of God. He got that spirit of Elijah, but he had a double portion.
Where is that account?
Just 2 Kings, probably in the first chapter.
God.
Or you can go a little farther back. You know what I'm saying? But we kind of in the middle of that transition. The transition happens. Then Elisha, we see all his acts, and this why I was saying earlier that Gehazi, how you say it? Gehazi. Yeah, he was like a Elisha. He was in the position Elisha was in, but he dropped the ball, man, trying to be greedy and not listening. Where is it at?
No. I don't want to say that name. I wanted to see that name.
Oh, Gehazy.
Oh, Gehazi.
Gehazi. I ain't no. I ain't no scholar. Yeah. So the transition starts at 2 Kings. You can see it here at chapter 2. And it says, and it came to pass. Am I sharing my screen?
God.
And it came to pass when the Lord would take up Elijah into heaven by a whirlwind, that Elijah went with Elisha to Gilgal. And then you'll see that whole switch there. And then the chapters back from this is Elijah and some of the things that he was doing before he got called up into heaven by the whirlwind.
Sure.
Anybody got anything? Any questions? Anything? No. Well, all praises, man. We pray this thing was edifying. We'll be on y'all willing be on Bring It Out TV on Friday. Y'all willing? I have my connection together. I don't know what's been going on, man. Verizon been tripping. Been tripping lately. Whether I get on the phone, all praises for the day. We made it through the day without the mic going crazy. The camera got a little crazy, but we made we made it through. But yeah, man, y'all willing, man, we'll be on there with Brother Eleazar, man, bringing out the lesson. But again, pray this thing was edifying. Israel, y'all be blessed. Stay safe out there.
Hey, Shalaka.
Go ahead, brother.
Can y'all please pray for me and my real? We traveling to Chicago tomorrow.
Definitely pray. Definitely pray for safe travel and definitely for covering in the tumultuous Chicago. But yeah, man, we'll definitely send up those prayers for you, brother.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Shalom. Where you going? When you going to Chicago?
Tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow. Okay then, man. Safe travels, brother. Yeah, we definitely keep getting prayer, man. And it's a lot out, man. I had stepped out for a minute, man. Good lesson, brother. That fear of the Lord is important. That's critical. That's critical to our salvation. You know what I mean? And that's Tupac had a line that says that about he want to see a side that wasn't always shady. Don't touch my lady. Like, when you look at the things that what make you whole, it is the Most High. And the only way you're gonna get that if you fear him. With no fear of the Most High, then you're gonna just be out here buck wild, man. You're gonna be out here buck wild. You need that healthy fear of the Most High. It's like a parent. You know what I mean? You do something wrong. Remember, younger, you did something wrong. They go, I'm gonna tell your mama. I'm gonna tell your daddy. Please, 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 please don't tell my daddy. You know what I mean? Like, and we gotta have that healthy fear of the Most High, man. So good lesson, brother, man. And hey, man, want to grow on, brother.
All praise to the Most High, man. Anybody got anything else? All right, Israel, Shalom.
Shalom,
brother.
Go on, fam.